Here's the cabinet, which somebody did a pretty crummy job on restoring. Pretty sure it has polyurethane, and looks like it was just brushed on. And a horrible repair here. Made no attempt to match the coloring at all. Unlike the other bullet models, this is real veneer, so no problem there. I won't lose any faux finish, so I'm just going to strip this down, but it's polyurethane, so I can't just use like lacquer thinner or acetone. So I picked up some citrus strip. I've had good luck with that in the past. But before I can strip it, I need to get the grill cloth out and the glass dial. I also just noticed here that this was nailed on. I don't know if that's original or not. I could certainly fill in the nail holes. Then I'll see once I strip it about popping that out. And well, I can certainly patch veneer in here. I'll just slice across and put a whole new piece in here. And this, well, I'll just use some small hardwood and I'll tone it or something to match the color. I'm not sure what that was originally. That may really be dark wood, or it may have just been colored. It probably is really dark wood though. Now, as far as getting this off, well, it's not the original grill cloth, that's for sure. And behind the scenes, you can see that somebody thumbtacked it in place. This cardboard support's seen better days, broken in a few places, and you can see that's how they did the grill cloth, which actually makes things a little bit easier for me since it's not glued in place. It'll just fall right out. And I do have reproduction grill cloth on hand that I can install. And getting this out, I believe I need to rotate this and get it off, and then there will be some small screws behind there. Here's the cabinet all stripped down, which turned out to be easier than I expected because whatever was on this, it wasn't polyurethane. It was actually quite easy to dissolve with just lacquer thinner. My best guess is that it was actually tung oil that somebody just slopped on with a brush. Alright, so after I stripped it, I carefully pulled out the brad nails holding on the strip, removed it, and cleaned out the damaged veneer and wood filler that was down in this area. Originally it was kind of a cut out here and going this way, and I just cut it straight all the way across. So when I put in a new patch, I can go all the way to this stripe, and I'll need to put a little bit down here, up here, and up top along that edge. For that, I've got some veneer, walnut veneer, fairly similar in grain. Not paperback though, so it will wrinkle a bit, but these are pretty small patches, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. I like to use salvaged veneer from another old cabinet, but all I've got is mahogany on hand right now. And as for this, I did dug up some basswood stock that is same size. I cleared out remains of the crud that was in there, so this will fit it nice. A little bit taller, so I'll need to thin that down a little bit and make it black somehow. I might have some black stain on hand, or ebony I guess they call it on the can. Otherwise I do have some black lacquer I can try coating this with. Alright, now something else I noticed is that when I pulled this out, it was secured in, I think, like so, so that the wood was flush with this edge. But after I pulled it out, I noticed there was another set of nail holes. Here's where the nail was. Also a hole over here. Here's where it was nailed, another hole over here. Well, if I line up with those old holes, which I assume are the originals, it actually lines up with the outer edge here, which makes a lot more sense. And then it will come up to here instead of all the way out here, which is still fine. It's still covering up this ugliness here. And as for these brads, were they original or not? I guess they were, since the original holes were there. And probably the same with these nails. I'm not used to seeing a lot of nails in or any nails in radio cabinets though. Usually they were just glued and maybe some screws and wood blocks on the inside, but not nails right through the outside. And this was series strong set, so I suppose it was a bit of an economy model. Fairly plain front as well. So that's what I'll do myself. I'll get these some brad nails, nail it into the old holes, and use some wood filler on it. Alright, so now I just need to get the patching, and once it's all patched up and prepared, I think it'll refinish quite easily, because I think it's just the same color over the whole cabinet. I think it's just like a medium brown walnut, and that's it. And then a Philco logo, which I think goes right about here. Okay, I've cleaned up the surface here, filled in some voids with wood filler, got it all smooth and ready to accept some glue. Also glued and clamped the plywood layers there, starting to separate a bit so it's all nice and secure. Trimmed up a bit of that basswood and painted it black. We'll go in like so. And trimmed up a bit of veneer to fit in, I think like this. Not quite sure. Yeah, I think that's how I cut it to go. Something like that. So, more gluing and clamping coming up. Alright, the repairs are done and the grain is filled. And I'm getting ready to put on some toner lacquer, but first I want to show you how the repairs turned out. So I feathered in a new piece of veneer up top, put in a new section along the bottom, bigger section here, and two new dark detail lines. I ended up not actually splicing in pieces of wood here. I just took the veneer and kind of scraped it up to make the grain lines look more like they were vertical and just painted it dark. I think that'll be fine. Plus, keep in mind, this piece of trim that covers up quite a bit of that anyways. So only a quarter of an inch or so of the repair is going to be visible. I think that'll be fine. Similarly for that bottom strip, only a quarter inch is visible, the larger bit over here. Now the color of the new veneer wasn't quite the same as the old, so I applied a bit of this Minwax walnut gel stain to kind of match the color. And it still doesn't look so good, but keep in mind this has been sanded and this hasn't yet, so if I just make this damp a little bit, see the color actually does match pretty well. And I chose a section of new veneer that was a bit figured, because notice this old veneer isn't just straight lines across, it's also got some figuring, some kind of diagonal marks. And notice this new section kind of does too, and I think I picked a section that'll kind of match that pretty darn well. So I'm hoping after a few passes of medium brown walnut toner to really tie this together, and that won't be so noticeable. Certainly better than it was before. And the rest of it came out quite nice. Minimal bits of damage on the main body here. So I think this will come out looking quite nice. So medium brown walnut over the whole thing, and then I will tack this back on, fill in the nail holes, mask off the rest of the cabinet, and make all this trim a nice dark color. Okay, done with the toner, and I put a little darker toner along the edge here where the plywood was visible. Takes a little time to tape off the whole cabinet just to do that little detail, but I think it's a nice touch. Otherwise you can see the laminations of the plywood through the toner. Alright, what I'm getting ready to do now is attach the trim. So I'm going to take some 220 grit and rough this area up, shoot some glue down in there, and put some new brad nails through the old holes, fill them up with wood filler, and mask off the top section, and use dark toner on that. I also want to sand up all the edges in the speaker area and paint those with some dark brown paint. I just finished applying a water slide decal of the Philco label. I referred to some examples online I found of the original finish, and I picked out a Philco decal that seemed to match the original size and font. So let that dry a bit, then bury it in some layers of lacquer. And meanwhile, I've lightly sanded the sides. I'm going to go spray on some more lacquer right now. After applying the decal, I sprayed on about 6 more coats of gloss lacquer, and I painted up all around the grill openings. Let it sit for a couple weeks, and now I'm rubbing out the finish. I just finished with 2F pumice on the front, and I'm starting to work on the other surfaces. I think I'll just go to 4F. I won't bother with the rotten stone. Give it a nice semi-gloss look.